for the fans, for the players, for all the news. Firebirds Weekly. This week's guest is Brent Reis.
Welcome to another episode of Firebirds Weekly. My name is Adam Samarov, and to my extreme left, I have my co-host, Chris Hipperly, and in the middle, we have the kicker for your Albany Firebirds, getting ready for a game on the first against a to-be-determined opponent. That man in the middle is Brent Reis. Brent, how are we doing this evening?
Magnificent. How you guys doing? So, Adam, this is season 2, episode 23. I just looked before I got.
Did you just look before that? I stopped counting. I think we're up around 50 or 60 episodes of this thing at least.
I think we're up to like 63.
63.
Episode 1. No.
Well, it's episode 1 for you.
Yeah.
It's episode 23, season 2 for the overall. And we have Brent joining us tonight. And so, let's talk, bye week for you guys. Got 2 bye weeks by virtue of the Firebirds being the number 2 seed. What would you get a chance to do during the bye week?
It was cool. I got to hang out with some of the guys. I'm really big on
let me get you right nice and close so I can hear. Everybody can hear you. Everything you're saying.
I'm really big on my morning walks and walking and exploring. So I didn't know the city had these cool little e-bikes.
Yep.
So I got an e-bike a couple days and just go up and down the river walk, and then rode the bike to Union College almost every day to go kick the ball a couple times.
Nice.
A little bit.
So you got a chance to see everything our capital city has to offer.
Oh, yeah, it was beautiful.
But we are not in the capital city tonight. We are in Clifton Park at IHOP for the second week in a row. Thank you to IHOP and letting us take over their little back room here for our show. What's been the most fun thing that you've been able to do in Albany so far? You've been up here for about a month or so since coming from Oceanside. What's kind of the most fun thing you've been able to do, not football related, since you've been up in Albany?
Like I said, just to go see some sights that I wouldn't ever see. When we played out here a few months ago, it was really cool to see the Hudson River. Mm-hmm. Our hotel was literally walking distance, so I was able to wake up early and go on a little walk. Yeah. And walked around and saw the older buildings that Albany has to offer. Yeah. And then the Hudson River, and then just getting to go into the arena before everyone else and just kind of see it. I'm a little older, so I like to take in the memories as I get them a little more. For sure. I mean, my wife will pick on me, but we go to Disney almost every other year, and one of my favorite things to do is just get up before anybody else and just walk around and just take it in, because to me that's vacation. Yeah. And it sounds like you've kind of taken the time to smell the roses, because old guys I'm older than you are, but I'm the oldest guy on the team, so there you go. I look the youngest, but I am the oldest.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, a lot of the guys on team are in their 20s, and it's like, hey, life is, I'm living life and just doing my thing, and eventually it's like, hey, you're not gonna be able to play football anymore. You got to find other things to do. So, definitely a part of that.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, a little bit about the last couple of weeks. Playing Beaumont, going to Texas, playing Nashville, trying to get to the number 1 seed. What's the last couple of weeks been like football wise? Just getting prepared and just playing those last couple games, and being able to secure that 2 seed. What has that been like for you?
It's been fun. It's definitely refreshing to be part of an organization that is like Albany, very established, and coaching staff is top notch. They want to win, and they have a high standard. So it's nice to come to an organization that had that standard and expectation of us players. And flying into the Beaumont game and meeting the guys, and all the guys were real approachable, and they were real easy to get along with. And playing at a place like Beaumont, I played there twice already, so it wasn't like I was going into a new stadium, new team. Yep. I think the hardest part was to get familiar with the operational side. Yeah, that's significantly important. Like without that, I mean, it's like it's a snap that without a good snap and good hold, you're not going to make that kick. And so we were able to adjust. We had a I had a couple misses to start, and then being able to pull the players aside and get the operational side down and just communicate like what I like and what they like and what they're comfortable with and all that stuff. So be able to make the changes in game, and then when we got back from Beaumont, taking that week to work with DT and work with Cameron on the snap because it went from low to Cameron, so that was a little bit of an adjustment too. But just trying to figure out what it makes us gel and what makes us flow and going, and then not learning, but just getting comfortable with where my holder is at, and if he's comfortable not saying fire, and if he's able to get it back up, and so yeah, it's just as a kicker, it's our job is to get familiar with all that stuff.
An interesting thing, this year compared to last year. So last year, every, the main kind of cogs in the machine, if you will, were all together, for most of the year. The health, was really pretty good with the team. This year, it's been a lot different, new guys coming in and all that kind of stuff. Being a new guy, what was it like in terms of getting the call to like come to Albany, from, Southern California? You were playing for the Bombers / Stealth. It's Stealth now. What was it like to get the call of like, okay, we want you to come to Albany? Just take me through that couple days, a little bit of like, okay, now I've got to, go across the country. What was that process like?
It was, I mean, for me, I've been around sports my whole life, and I've coached for LA Galaxy for a few years. So seeing how quick something can change and being able to adapt to that change pretty quick. Being on Oceanside, where we were close and competitive in every game, but ultimately injuries like Albany we had injuries, and we had to make adjustments in game, and being on a team that was at the bottom of the table, but still performing and doing I feel like I was doing a good job and getting noticed by a few teams in the league. And so it's nice that when even though your team doesn't have the success on the stats, or like not the stats, but the
wins and losses,
but we still had players that are balling out. Even in the last game,
I agree.
Guys were still balling out and still getting the stats, and so being on a team like that is, I mean, I've been on a few teams where we haven't won a game. At least we got to win one game.
Yeah.
But I've been on teams where we've lost every single game, but the camaraderie had been lost. For Oceanside, it's like as we lost more, the guys got tighter and got more of a family, and it's something like I still talk to a few of the guys today, and they're all stoked to see me out here playing and being able to play in the playoffs, but it's like even when they played the last game, I was cheering on Gunner. He's the new kicker there, so I'm like I was all cheering him on, and then Coach Clark is a huge mentor of mine, and I met him before the Bombers even got established, and he's always just been a guy. He's a big fitness guy, so and being an older guy and trying to stay in shape and stay healthy, and so he's a big mentor. To see him to be the head coach and play for him a couple times, but just to know that my work ethic and my performance was getting noticed by bigger coaches and bigger teams, and so to get the call from Ware and to see that Ware was willing and wanting to bring me over to Albany is a huge accolade in my book, because it's the hard work and the performance doesn't go unnoticed. So
we definitely noticed over here. We as fans, take a look around and see, at least us anyway. We spend a decent amount of time watching a lot of these games, and there's certain players that jump out. And you were one of them. I mean, again, like I said, they finished, I think, 1-11, but like I said, those games are all entertaining games.
Yeah,
you're in all those games, so you start looking at the
last year.
positives,
Last year there was like I think one of the games that the Firebirds played was like 98-12 or something. Like it wasn't any we didn't have any of that this year, really. I mean, a couple of games where teams didn't score a lot of points, but even in those games, they were still really competitive.
Yeah, the only game that we really got blown out on was against Kentucky. First half, we kept them under 30 points.
Yeah,
and then second half had a couple big injuries on the line, and
that's
that's the one area where if you have even one guy get slightly hurt, and especially on an away game, and then especially after all the the unfortunate things that happened before that game that already made us travel a little later, a little lighter.
Yep.
But I mean, we came in there and we all balled out, and unfortunately, it's in arena football. It's one turnover can lead to 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Oh, for sure.
And then just that tide and that momentum swing, and then once they get up on 2 touchdowns, it's so hard to keep knocking them back down.
Yeah. Now, so you going from Oceanside, that's deal. Now you're in the middle of a 2-week bye week, getting ready to play for the playoffs. What does it mean to you to have a chance to win that trophy? Basically, being in the tournament
it means a lot to me. It's a mentally, it's like a complete 180 where I was like, I mean, up until like 2 weeks before Beaumont, I didn't think that any other team was interested in me, and then I had a couple other teams like showing interest, and then all of a sudden it's like going from a team that wasn't going to make playoffs to now I'm in a team that can win a championship. It's super exciting. You get fans like my man over here that has been at every game, and he was at the Oceanside game yelling and screaming at me, telling me to miss. And now he's over here yelling and screaming at me, telling me to make it. But Tom was the man. But it's just cool. It's just the environment. I feel like the environment's the same as Oceanside. Oceanside had a good fan base, and we had for a new team, we had a good supporters group and good amount of fans. And so coming to Albany.
But the flock support, we talked to guys, and it's to a man. Obviously, it's crazy how much they were able to do and put together, and you guys get the adopted players and all that stuff. Talk about just being a part of that kind of a thing.
It was cool. As soon as I try to like make friends and make like acquaintances at every arena I go to. I know the first game I played out here, there was a couple fans that were sitting behind the uprights, and I was just kind of telling them those little brother and sister and. I said, hey, you're like in the danger zone. If that ball doesn't make the net, like if that player sees it, they can reach over, and then I just talk to them and just showed them a little bit of attention. There was their first football game. I ended up giving them my hat, one of my favorite Chargers hat. And then ultimately following each other on Instagram. And so as they saw that I was signing here, they were like the first people that were like, oh my God, we're so excited.
No, that's great.
So cool. And then the flock support, as soon as I announced signing, I had people messaging me on Facebook and just excited to see me here and then asking me what I need. I've had more people ask me for what I need for the first couple of days than I ever have pretty much ever. Like, it was like, do you need toiletries? Do you need this? Do you need this? I'm over here like, I mean.
Well, that's the thing too. And again, obviously, very, not many of the guys live even within a few hours of here. Like guys are from Texas and Florida, and you were in California. It's like, you're trying to do it on your own, and you're in the middle of playing a season and all that stuff. It's like, what can they do to help? And
not having a car is like. I was telling Tom earlier, I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to remember how to drive. Like, I haven't drove. And then driving out here, you think driving in California, this is like, man, like just crossing the street is like playing Frogger. I see you step in the street and you hear the car go faster. I'm like, you're supposed to slow down for a minute. They're like,
no, you're just in the way, brother.
They're like, you're
a roadblock.
I'm like, dang, I'm not even wearing my Charger hat. Like, why are they?
Well, it sounds like, so far the Albany experience for you has been really good. And obviously, more football to be played. August 1st, like I said, we're going to be against somebody. We're not sure yet. We're waiting, Saturday is the 3-6 matchup, I guess. I don't know. It's weird because it's like the highest seed goes and plays Nashville. The highest seed left goes play Nashville, and then the lower seed plays. No, the lower seed. I'll get it right. Yeah, lower seed against Nashville, the higher seed against us.
Yeah, I think it's going to be
Oh, the 3. Okay. So we'll know over the weekend.
But I mean, I think it's going to be good football because all 4 of the teams have been. I mean, it's unfortunate that Kentucky was like a powerhouse, and then with all their
stuff that's going on in their end, yep. And then Minnesota is going to be doing their thing. Michigan, and then the Wolfpack, making the playoffs as well after, a tough season last year. They came back.
Yeah, they have a couple of receivers that are just on fire. And then they got a new kicker that's I think he played at Oregon. So it's crazy. I don't even know all the receivers' name. I know Honeycutt because that's all we talk about, and we got to match up with him. But for the most part, all the kickers get along.
I was gonna say, it seems like the kicker fraternity
Oh yeah, it's
is
definitely
definitely a
strong.
thing. So like,
Yeah, it's
you know,
definitely
like
big.
Nashville has the Kaplan kid, and
Kaplan-
you know,
Kaplan-
there's been, you know, I mean, we know him because he's been kicking the crap out of the Firebirds.
He's probably one of the best kickers I've seen. And like, I mean, I've worked out in California with a bunch of like NFL guys, but and then it's just Kaplan is just when he gets on that field, it's just I don't know what he does. I don't know
Yeah.
I don't know what energy drink he drinks.
He has a,
But he is like.
See, and that's the thing too. Like, people look at us, obviously we're the Nest, right? We're an Albany thing, you know. But we give the other guys the props too. When they deserve those props, we give them those props.
It's
So
just
that's it.
Kaplan has a very unique approach.
Yeah, I think he. Yeah, and he's by the book. It's every single time. It's the same way, same approach, same movement. And
Yes.
It feels like it's like a golfer, right? Like if
Yeah.
you know, every time you're swinging the club in a certain way to get the result you want.
yeah.
It seems like he's doing the same thing for football, and that's what you guys try to do on the football field.
But we all I think in the other leagues, I know the IFL. I know a bunch of kickers in the IFL, and I don't think they communicate and get along as much as the kickers in the AF1 do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm really good friends with the kicker that was at Minnesota, Aiden. Aiden and I are like really good. We're both from San Diego area.
Okay.
He signed with Cincinnati Gunslingers, so like before the game, he was even stretching like in the hotel, and then like him and I had like an hour-long conversation about just the different style of the league and all that stuff, and just supporting each other. And even when we played against each other, Minnesota came to Oceanside twice and they beat us twice, but it was like before the game, him and I were talking the turf. We were talking about the turf, about how to make like it's all the little things, and then with Evan Bird, I talked to Evan Bird a lot. Roden from Michigan, him and I talk.
He's a good kicker too. He's a really tall dude. Like you're not like, again, I'm standing on the side when I, you know, cover and watch the games. I'm on that side of there and I see these guys and I'm like, that is a tall dude.
Yeah,
He's a tall dude.
It's unfortunate for him. I think if he played at any other stadium other than Michigan,
with the low ceiling,
I think he would lead the league in deuces. I think he would have more deuces than Kaplan.
I think that's fair to say.
I think he's
at least tied. I would say.
No, I think he would have more because I think Kaplan had that one game where two games where he had none, and that was like a shocker. But only 3 kickers have deuces in Michigan, and I'm like, if every time he hit that scoreboard, like if you watch the behind the video, that every time he hits the scoreboard, that was lined up. I think he hit it like at least 40 times.
Oh my God!
So I think he definitely would have the league's most deuces.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it was Kaplan and then me and then Roden, but then every time Roden played at home, I'm like, oh yes.
Would it creep up that list?
I think he's number 3 now. I think he got a couple more.
I think it's great. I think it's great that there's like that kicker fraternity. You know, that everybody, you guys all doing the same thing. You know, whether it's AF1, whether it's IF, like any of the indoor leagues, it's like, and I would assume it's the same way even in the NFL, right? Like a kickers are, it's a fraternity.
Well, I'm friends. One of the biggest relationships I made, I was telling you guys off camera, is with Craig.
Craig Pearson, a former Albany Empire kicker.
Craig the leg, and then I actually got to meet Henry Nell. I followed him last year and watched him, and it was cool to see him win the championship, and then to hear his story about the surgery and the cancer, and then seeing that he's still going to play, even though everyone kept telling him not to play. It's one of those things where, as an athlete, it's like telling us no. It's only going to make us want to go even more. But just talking to him and just being able to learn from him and learning from Greg. I worked out with Greg the other day, and half the session was just us bantering and just talking and just getting to know each other. I mean, I haven't met the guy. That was my first time ever meeting him off of social media. And so besides that, it's always just talking on Instagram or text. And then we just kind of sat around and talked about different experiences and different this and that. The guy's doing a 1-step and warm up and still cranking the ball. I'm like, dude, like if you said you wanted to play, I don't think I'll be here. But it's more just kind of cool. Like I feel like I had a couple things that I felt in my approach.
Yes.
And then to have him stand behind me and then instantly be like, yeah, I think you're doing this, and then working on just showing me how to like keep my hips square, because my misses were left and I don't ever really miss left. So especially on the PAT, on drop kick, it's it's however you line up after a snap. So if the snap is more right, you're probably going to shift more to the right. So if you do miss, it's going to be right. But on the PATs, I'm not normally a miss to the left kind of guy. So I was already thinking about my hips, and then he's like, "Yeah, you're planting too flat, and then your hip is opened up too much."
Fading.
So you're like, it's kind of like when you golf, when you
you slice. Yeah.
So he was like, it was just so cool because it took him watching me one kick to help me, and then the next kick was like perfect spiral, but nice balanced kick, and that's all it takes. And especially coming in here, I have to make sure I'm 100% on PATs because if when we championship game, it's gonna be
every point counts, man.
It's gonna be a kicker's battle. I think it's gonna be a very tight, defensively ran game. Both offenses are definitely extremely good, and if it comes down to kick for kick, I got to make sure I get my leg dialed in, and that way I can keep up with Kaplan and
whoever gets in there. Every team has a good kicker. I mean, that's the thing. Doesn't matter who gets in there. You got to be at your top.
I think the Levi plays for Kentucky, and him and I were actually Instagram messaging earlier. He's a good kid. He played for Beaumont, and so before Beaumont's game, and that's where the relationship is cool because like I think I'm the only kicker in the league that's actually drop kicking, and that's consistently drop kicking. So Levi came over and was like, "Dude, you got to teach me how to drop kick." And then like, what's like the most important thing? And I'm like, I'm all for everyone. It's different. For me, it's more about finding that drop.
No, for sure.
And so and just seeing the ball out of my hands. But I said when in a game, when you have it's in practice, it's easy.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just cool that before the game, like all of us kickers kind of hang out and chat for a little bit and just get to know each other, and it's just cool because I liked being. This is like my first time in this league, and I like to try to trade the balls. So I try to get a ball from every player, and it's a little harder in this league because
it's like the jersey swaps.
Yeah, the balls are a little expensive.
Oh, they're super expensive.
So it was cool. I mean, I got to trade a ball with Aiden, the owner of Minnesota. Him and I and Aiden were all talking before the game, and I was like, dude, I really want one of your balls because some of the logos are pretty cool and they have them on the ball and stuff. So it was just cool, and then it's like an experience for me. If I end up having a deuce that day or points, I would write down how many points I had the date of the game. It was hard to write that L on every single ball.
But at least, like you said, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like I think that's. As you get older and as you kind of, like you said, you kind of look at it for the memories and you kind of look at it in terms of that. It's like, like obviously nobody wants to lose. Like obviously that's just nature for human nature that you want to be a winner. But it's also like the memories of like, I did this and I was a part of this process and I was a part of this league and I was part of this event.
And the biggest reason I came back or I wanted to play is I have a 16-year-old daughter. And so it's, for me, having her be at that first game and having her be the first one I say hi to after the game and give a big.
And that means more than anything, I would imagine.
My brothers come. I have my two brothers came. My one brother lives in North Carolina, but he'll watch the games but just having my brothers there, and my mom and dad will watch from home, and just having family there and being able to like see them, even if we lost, even if we won, to see my little nephews and my nieces and my daughter. Everyone all excited to see me play, and it's not a lot of people are able to say that they're playing a pro sport at 37.
Sure. Well, so I got two questions for you. One came from the stream. The question is it harder to learn extra points or drop kicks?
I think, they're both. Skill wise, I think it's pretty similar. I mean, I think extra point would be a little easier because that's something that's more natural. You have to just rely on the operation side to be sound. But there's ways for us kickers to work around an operation that isn't as sound yet. Either doing a two-step or a one-step. A drop kick is definitely, it's easier to teach, but to do it in a game and do it under pressure is extremely hard. To watch a kicker like Henry Nell make it look like it's like
he's doing in his backyard.
But then again, it's when you watch last year's games, Albany from offensive line, I don't know, man, those guys were tanks, and it's like it seemed like he had 4 hours to sit there and have a cocktail and then text his wife and then just next thing you know, I gotta kick this ball, and so it was just like smooth and just effortless, and so I think once we get everyone back healthy and everyone's sound and everything's, I think coming back on Sunday, everyone's come back.
Yeah.
I think this week at practice is going to be a good week for us to get back together and really build that front line and get everyone's motivation. I think having 2 weeks off is huge, especially in sports, because you have a chance to get your mentality.
Oh, and health. I mean,
Yeah.
I know like Prince, came back last week, and I definitely want to find out from him, like, the fact that he's healthy and be able to contribute to the playoff run now and what that's going to be.
And then the level of professionalism, every single guy that is on the IR or that's been hurt, to see the way they take care of themselves off the field. And all of us are at the hotel, and I mean, some of us drive, some of us don't. So being able to have that camaraderie where all of us are like, hey, we got to go to cryotherapy, we got to go to the gym. Like before this, Prince and I were at the gym, and Prince is going to cryotherapy because we're pro athletes. So
right. So you got to take care. You obviously got to take care of yourself.
So there's a couple more questions in here that I want to read off. So what goes through your mind when you hear the chant for 2?
Deuce.
It's kind of like it's. I didn't really get it much at Oceanside. I don't think I don't even think people realize
we're aware of it.
It's a brand new franchise.
Yeah.
They're still learning. Albany's had arena football forever.
So Gunnar Rayborn came in, and he was the one that like got them saying a little bit more, because he had a video saying, when I go kick, I want to hear Deuce. So Gunnar is a character, man. That guy he's a fun person to talk to, and that energy that he brings to it. And but before it was, I would go to kick. I don't think people really even knew about a deuce or what it was. I made one, and everyone was like, why is everyone cheering? And then someone in the stands were like, why is that a big thing? And I was like, oh, it's 2 points. Like, oh, sweet. And then our announcer even called it, I think he still called it a rouge.
Yeah.
The one.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of crap for that, because I was like, yeah, it's the rouge, right? The 1 point for like tackling a guy in the end zone.
Yeah.
No, it's the one.
Yeah.
So I made it.
Yeah, I think someone called it a Sandman once, so I don't even know.
What the hell is that?
I just call it a 1-pointer, and then I said it's a deuce is obviously the 2-pointer, but it's cool. I didn't hear it as much. I thought I was gonna hear it in Albany. I thought I was gonna be a little louder. So August 1st, maybe
we'll make up for it.
Maybe we can be a little louder, and it just adds a little bit of that. Like once you hear that chant, and like you get a little bit of that, not the goosebumps, but you get
3,500 people screaming deuce.
It just brings me back to the good old days of my pre-workout. That would
right.
The jitters.
Yeah, for sure.
It just made me want to hit the ball a little harder and really, and then after making one, just seeing seeing how much emotion the fans have, it's actually pretty cool.
So there's more questions.
Right. How many more questions? Stephanie? Jeez.
No, they're all good. So this is more of a funny one than, at least I think it's funny anyways. Does it feel strange wearing 2 different colored shoes?
Oh, no, not at all. It's actually, I mean, I think I wore matching shoes when I was in Kentucky, and it just felt weird to me. I wear an indoor soccer shoe on my left, my left foot, because it's a flat bottom, but it has a different grip. Mm-hmm. And then I wear a soccer style cleat on my right foot, but it's 100% leather, and it's a tighter fit, so you get a better feel on the ball.
Okay. And then a question, this may have come with some scar tissue, but I'm gonna ask anyways.
Oh yeah.
The deuce that you put through in the game obviously didn't count because of the penalty in the bank.
Yeah.
That was towards.
Dude, I was out of my. I was like, why doesn't it count? And then they were like, no, it's because of the penalty. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that one it hurt because
I needed it too.
Yeah, well, I was given a coaching point, and I was given I don't want to say order, but I was given an objective.
Yeah.
And the play called for me to hit it off the net, and I try to swing a little harder to try to have it curve back into the net. So if it hit the net, it can bounce back. And so
I can understand.
I was told right before the kick, hit the net, and if you hit a deuce, it's not going to count. And then I just swung, and as soon as it left my foot, it looked like it was going to the net, and then all of a sudden I saw it bend back in. I was like, "Oh God, it's gonna be a deuce." And then I stood.
It's the one time where you're like, "I don't want to deuce. I want it off the. I want it off the net."
I stood there watching it, and I'm like, "Oh God."
Well, that's
and when it hit the bar, I was like, bounce back out. Like I was like, and then when I hit it, I went, "Oh no," because like.
And the crowd cheers, of course, because they don't really know. They didn't realize that the penalty was in the bank either.
I'm glad that you said it, because the purpose of my question was, did you feel like because that was towards the end of the game, did it kind of feel like it kind of got you back on track, feeling back to normal? But it sounds like you found your stroke this past week, so that's off the
I was
table.
able to. I mean, kickers are weird, and
Yes, they are.
People don't realize that we all have our tendencies. We all have our. I mean, we were talking about Kaplan.
Quirks.
Yeah, Kaplan is like a prime example of you have your way of doing it, and you don't ever veer off of it. And so for me, my biggest adjustment was I had been kicking the same balls all year, and then coming here, I was kicking balls I've never kicked before, and so for me, even though everyone thinks of football as a football, it's like a quarterback will have a quarterback can throw a ball one time and be like, yeah, I don't like that ball, don't just throw it away.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's I had to come in and try to kick balls, and I'm not used to kicking, and I'm not familiar with how they fly off my foot, because I don't feel like I have a traditional swing, because I played soccer my whole life. So when I make contact with the ball, it's a little different than like how Evan Bird would make contact, where he's more straight up and down, more straight to the ball, where my path is a little bit more arced. And so after the Beaumont game, I made sure I got some balls I can break in that week before Nashville, and it's nothing like playing like at the MVP. Even when we played there when I was with Oceanside, your first thought is, holy crap, this field is huge. It's the only field with a 10-yard end zone,
which I personally love.
Yeah, I like the old school.
It also again, if you're when it's for you, it's nice, but when it's against you, having 3,500 people screaming at you,
so
it's a little different.
When we played there for Oceanside, our holder wasn't available, and then rather than try to find a new holder, I just drop kicked. So I had a few drop kicks against us, and then I had 2 deuces. But it's just all about finding that comfortability and finding that swing. And this week I'm going to really make sure I find my approach and really drive through the ball, because you got to give it a little bit more. Even though people hear 2 yards, that 2 yards ends up being like 7 or 8 yards, and then the uprights being 15. That's 7 to 8 yards difference. It's a little bit more power and a little bit more finesse, and so I got to really find that sweet spot on driving the ball again. And then I feel like you said, towards the end of the game, I feel like the first couple kicks I was trying to find that sweet spot, and I wasn't fully finding it. And then towards the end of the game, and then actually getting that deuce, it sucks because I know it hurt the team. Because if I can just get them pinned in the 5, because they had that 10 yards no matter what. So maybe we get a 1 point or a rouge. You know what I mean?
The 1.
So if we would have got a 1, then and then they step off, then the penalty doesn't hurt us as much.
Right. It all adds up, and I think.
And so for me, it sucked for me, because I instantly was like, crap, I don't want to feel like I let my team down. I didn't want my coaches to be upset. But besides that, it also helped me, like you said, figure out a spot that is a little bit more like, normally I kick from a little bit outside the hash, and I have that curve back in.
Yep.
But maybe for playing here, I'm going to have to be more central, so I can really drive straight through the ball, get a little bit more momentum through the ball. So actually, it was nice to see the ball, even though it didn't count. It was nice to see the ball go through the uprights.
Yeah.
And having that first drop kick go in, and then having a few misses after, but then going back to a PAT, and then making that one. Actually, it's just that momentum, and that just seeing the ball go through the uprights is such a.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's no different than a basketball player. You miss 10 shots, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna hit. You got to have the mentality of, I'm gonna hit the 11th one.
Yeah, so it's like
same thing.
So it's the pressure for a kicker is 10 times more, I feel, because if when it's a kick, everyone's just watching the kick.
That's right.
And so if it happens to be a bad snap, they don't really see the snap. They just see the result of the kicker missing
or towing it or not even kicking it.
And so that's where my goal this week, and I've already talked to a couple of my operation guys, is making sure that we really focus. And if we have to take the time after practices and really focus, I said I can't afford to miss anymore. I said we're at a time where we can lose a game by 1 point.
That's right.
Every point matters.
Yeah. So
the question that you've only been here for a few games, and you mentioned it a minute ago in terms of like not wanting to make your letting your teammates down, but a lot of places outside of Albany, you always hear that Albany's the standard. And I would bet, I don't know because I'm not in the locker room, but I feel like the guys are ready to get back to that standard.
Yeah.
I would say the last few weeks. I mean, honestly, the national game, honestly, in the end, was played pretty well.
Yeah, it was definitely
So, but like I think the team is looking to get back into that standard routine, and you making sure that you don't let each other down. I think is a big part of that.
Well, I think the standard's been there that week before.
Mm-hmm.
The training was good.
Yep.
Everyone was bought in. Everyone was good. For me personally, I look at the result of we lost by 3, and then I look back at, okay, well, I missed 3 drop kicks. And so, I mean, it doesn't take a math major to know
Right.
if I would have made the 3, the game could have been different.
Sure.
And so,
well, start some personal accountability, right?
Yeah. So
you can't blame anybody else but yourself.
So that's why every day I go out, and even if I mean the win, it's so. I mean, I thought California win was random, but there's days where I look out the window and there's no wind, and then as soon as I get on my bike to go to Union, it's like. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then there was one day I was kicking and it felt like I was in an ashtray, like because the fires. And then, but just going out there, even if it's like 10 to 15 reps and just swinging, keeping the body moving, because that way now, when we get into the arena before the game, I'm going to be able to adjust my eyes and just know exactly and have the fluidity in my body.
Well, so when you're outside kicking and the wind is messing with your kick, you can't worry about that. You don't. You just kind of leave that up to that's a calculation. Making sure that your lower half is good, and like if the wind blows, the wind blows it. You can't worry about it.
If the wind's blowing, if it's a little breeze, I don't really care because I'm more worried. I don't care about so much. I know my target up there, and I wasn't missing the target so much up top. Mm-hmm. But I'm just more worried about my approach.
Sure.
Getting my approach dialed back in. Mm-hmm. And then if it was too windy, I would just kick the ball into the soccer net.
Okay.
And that way I was still getting the movement and still kicking it as hard as I can and keeping the body going. But, I mean, ultimately it was more about my fundamentals rather than the distance and all that stuff.
How early do you usually get into the arena to kick? Like how much time do you spend usually to
depends. Last game, we have our team lunch, and as soon as lunch was done, I go out there, and like I said, being the older guy, I have like a little routine that I kind of do to kind of get me, and it's more, I do more soccer style stuff because that's what I'm used to, and I kind of walk around the field and just kind of drop kick the ball off the net and just kind of punt it. I'll do like an actual like outdoor punt. Just to kind of get the leg swinging, and then, but I try to get out there as soon as I can and get a good, not even 40% power kicks, just kind of just kicking the ball around and just getting the body moving, and then I'll stretch for a little bit, and then I'll go, and then so for my warm up, I wear 2 matching shoes.
There you go, Stephanie. You got the answer, man.
So warm up, I wear matching shoes, and then I wear my indoors, and then. As soon as you see me getting the opposite color cleat on, I'm gonna be kicking. Is that Louis comment?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Louis Vincent.
Tell him to get to work.
Well, y'all just did.
And then tell him why he's not here. Louis, why aren't you here? It's definitely a routine, and then so. But I had to use that time to get familiar with my new kicking balls, and I usually have 3, and then I'll kick all 3 of them and try to see what one feels like which one's working today and what one is not working. And so I'll kick all 3 of them a few times, and then once I figure out, okay, that one stinks, I go and I put it back in the locker room. I either take a sip of my energy drink or I always I'm pretty routine. When I tape my wrist, I tape my daughter's name on my wrist, and I tape this. I say "Hell yeah, B" on my other wrist, and then as I write that down, I always text my daughter "I love you," and then just kind of have my little pregame little routine, and then I go back out there and try to kick again and start kicking balls and all that good stuff.
Well, let's go back and talk about, because you have definitely a different path to here than most. You played soccer. You were a soccer guy all the way up until a few years ago. And not only were you a soccer guy, you were also a goalie playing in some of those indoor leagues. Just talk about that path and getting into the pro soccer game, pro arena soccer game, earlier in life.
Yeah.
And what that was about.
So I have 4 brothers, and all of us played soccer, and they were all blessed with the skinnier genes, and then I was always a little thicker, and so they were always fast, and I was like, I want to play with you guys, but I don't want to run, so they're like, just be a goalie.
There you go. Now that's spoken like a true offensive lineman. I don't want to run.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
So I started playing goalkeeper, and then I realized I liked it, and then we never played club. Like I said, I have 4 brothers, and my dad was a single income household. My mom was like our the care, what do they call it, the home giver.
Yeah, caretaker
she took care of us, so you didn't have to do the daycare thing. And then she would lug us around to all of our practices, and my dad was in charge of the referees for our rec soccer organization. My mom was the registrar, so we all played like club.
Everybody was involved.
Yeah, we all played rec soccer, and then all the games were every Saturday at the same field. And so towards when my oldest brother he had gotten to high school, he played at a prestigious high school in California called Mater Dei. And then
okay, yep.
And so that was like the extent. And he was the only one that played club, because club was like expensive, and now it's like 20 times more.
It's I as a journalist, I've seen it even up here, which is not anywhere near what that is.
Yeah.
And it's insane.
Yeah. So just playing soccer and playing with my brothers all the time. I grew up in a time where like you never wanted to even be in the house. And so like we had a school behind us that we went to, our elementary school, that we would hop the fence, and it was a huge grass field. So we'd be outside playing soccer. And then like the good old days when the street lights come on, if you grew up with street lights are on, you got to come back home, and we would fake our homework just to go outside, because we didn't want to be inside. So, but just playing that, and then growing up, and then when I got into high school, my junior year, between junior and senior year, I was told that I could potentially play higher level soccer if I got into shape. I got in shape, went on Weight Watchers, lost some weight, and then figured out a little bit about the gym and then eating better. And then my senior year got recruited by a bunch of Division I's, but I guess you have to have good grades to go to school.
Yeah, that's the rub. The sports is fine, but you better have the smarts to back it up.
I guess for football they don't really care. So for soccer,
that could be a whole nother 45-minute show.
Yeah,
but yes.
So for soccer, I guess you needed a 3.0, and I barely graduated like a 2.2. But and so that's why now, when I coach, I tell all the kids, I'm like, you can be the best player ever, but if you don't even have the grades, college is like a business. And are they going to want to give you money when there's someone else that is not as good, but they have way better grades, and they don't have to ever worry about them losing that money because of grades. So, but just played it my whole life, and then I was gonna go play. I played 2 years at a junior college, and then on my recruiting trip, I actually I met my daughter's mom, and then shortly after, we found out we were going to be parents. And so I decided for the family, I dropped out of school and stopped playing soccer, and got a big boy job. Had to wear a suit and tie every day. Worked at a bank, and then unfortunately, later down the line, her mom and I ended up getting divorced. And then my first thought was I went back into banking, but then I had an email from a buddy who worked for LA Galaxy, and he was like, "Hey, you want to come back? You want to coach?"
Oh, cool.
And then I said, "Hell yeah, I want to coach." So I started coaching again, and then quit the bank, and I said, "This is what I want to do." And
awesome.
And so I started playing again, and got back in shape, and got picked up by a couple indoor teams, and then started making soccer my living.
So you played for the Anaheim Bolt and the Ontario Free. So you were in California doing that, and then tell me how you kind of went from the soccer thing, getting back into it. Obviously, after you go do the junior college route, and then you, like you said, you become a dad, and okay, life's now that it's all about the daughter and all about the children. How do you go then? to switch to football? How does that switch end up happening in your life when you didn't play it in school or anything like that?
It was actually really random. I played for a team called 1904 FC. It was a soccer team. We played at the old Qualcomm.
Okay. Oh, nice.
And then literally it was was COVID 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the 2 weeks before we had our final home game, and then next thing you know, they said, "Hey,
we're all shut.
Everything's gonna get shut down." And so I was a player and a coach for them, and so that was my last pro team, and it was actually an outdoor team. And then COVID hit, and then like everyone, there was like a year or two where I just worked. Like I worked at a warehouse. I started golfing. Like everyone else did, I started golfing.
Right, like you find a new path in life. I did a similar thing.
I have to play a sport, like, and I don't have the attention span to play video games like all my buddies, and so I started working at a warehouse and did that, and then as soon as soccer was open back up, I was like, I'm back in this. I was in the coaching again, and then one day I was coaching and. There was a semi-pro outdoor team that practiced on the same field, and I was coaching my goalkeepers, and then the ball bounced over, and me kicking things, I picked it up and I just kicked it, and I see everyone's head go. And then so Sean was the owner of the team called the Kings, and then
we have familiarity with a team called the Kings, Berkshire Kings.
Yeah. So they threw the ball back, and they're like, "Hey, do that again." I was like, "All right." So then the kids were like, "I bet you can't kick it the same way, coach." And I kicked it even farther. And then that was on a Monday. And then so Wednesday comes around, and then I'm walking up with like all my soccer ball stuff and everything. And then they're like, "Here you go." And they handed me a helmet and shoulder pads. And I said, "That's cool. What's that for?" Like, "Oh, we have a game at 7 on Saturday." I said, "That's sweet. Are you guys gonna win?" And they're like, "Well, if you play for us, we might." I was like, "Play for you?" They're like, "Yeah, we need a kicker." I'm like, "Bro, I've never kicked footballs before." And so that was a Wednesday.
Did you pay $100 dues? That's an inside joke.
And so Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday morning, I spent like an hour each day Googling how to kick a football. And then my first experience trying to put on a football uniform was not fun. Like I was
trying to get the jersey,
jersey over the shoulder pads.
I'm over here like, dude, I wear shorts and a t-shirt. Like I'm always trying to put on these. And then one guy was like, "Here, you got to wear this." And it was like a girdle.
Yeah.
I was like, "Bro, I cannot wear this thing. It's like
restrictive."
And then it took me like 10 minutes to put the uniform, like the jersey. I think the guys saw that I was new, and they saw me like struggling, trying to put my arms in. Looked like oh man, it was funny. And then I finally got it on. I'm like, this is kind of cool. And then
they gave pity on you. It sounds like they helped you out.
And then I got my first PAT. I was like, heck yeah, let's go. And then I drilled my center square in the back. I did not know how to kick. I was like, this is crazy. You had to snap it, and I didn't know. And so first kick, hit him square in the back.
Oh.
Did my first kickoff, and I kicked it. My first kickoff was decent. It was they play high school rules, so it landed in the end zone. Mm-hmm. So it was a touchback.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know what that meant, so I was like, that's cool. Like I don't have to hit anyone. And then second PAT, hit my center in the head.
So 0 for 2 in actual PATs, 2 for 2 for hitting your center.
I hit my center 3 times that game, and then the very last kick, it was a field goal for 27 yards, and then everyone was like, "Just don't hit." The center was like, "Just don't hit me, please," because the last one, I was so pissed. I hit it so hard, and I saw it leave my foot. You hear him go, and then this one was a field goal, so I was like, "All right." He's like, "You got to make it, bro. We're gonna lose if you don't make it." I'm like, "All right." I line up, and I remember just closing my eyes and just swinging. I just try to swing up, and then I see the upright, and I see it going, and just barely makes it. And everyone's like freaks out. The center comes over and just grabs me and throws me. I was like, heck yeah. So then
you're like, this is better than soccer ever.
Yeah. And then since that day, I was literally hooked. I had a couple buddies that played. One buddy played for UCLA, Aaron Perez. He's an older guy now, but he actually played pro soccer too. And he punted for UCLA, and he has a big punting school now. So Aaron Perez would give me tips and advice on how to punt, and then I would just Google like crazy and just look up all the kickers. And then I remember one time I saw a video from Prince. Prince hit a 65-yarder, and I was like, dude, that's the guy I want to be like.
What do you think, to go along that line, one of the top kickers in the NFL right now, and I say that because he's on my team also, is Brandon Aubrey.
Oh, you're a
And
Cowboys fan. Oh,
yes, sir. And
player, that's good. Brandon Aubrey.
yes, but again, another guy was a soccer guy.
Yeah.
Came into football,
Yeah.
and obviously is
It's worked out for him.
if the Cowboys get across midfield, there's a good chance three's coming because he can do it.
Yeah, he's definitely like my company is called Different Breed. So Brandon Aubrey is definitely a different breed.
What do you think about that? Like when you see a guy he's followed a very similar path. Like he went soccer and then into football, and it's like, hey, like what do you think when you see a guy like that, do that path as well?
It's pretty cool because it gives like I have a ton of kids now that I'm coaching that they have never even considered playing football, and then they see that I'm having some success. So now it's cool because they can go from playing soccer to playing football.
Like they have the options, are exponentially bigger.
Oh yeah, and then just seeing how he went, I think he almost went perfect in the UFL last year.
Yeah, and then that's how he got signed by the Cowboys. Yeah,
I remember watching his game, and I think he was 36 for 36, and then the commentator did the good old commentator's curse of, oh man, will he miss any kicks this year? And then he literally missed by like an inch to the right, and I was like, oh, what a jerk. But it wasn't even like, it was like a 54-yarder. So it's not like a chip shot. I feel like today's game, everyone sees how like everyone's just cranking these balls. Like I get asked all the time, oh, do you want to go play in the league? I'm like, I don't know if I have the leg for that.
Yeah. It's major. It's not,
and then you look at guys that, the old Ravens kicker,
Justin
Tucker. Like I watched his autobiography and just listened to him and how he approaches each kick. He had the year before he had his downfall. It was like the guy was perfect, and he was I think he was like 54 for 54 inside, 45 to 35.
Yeah,
and it's just his approach and how he tries to find the smallest spot on the ball, and but missing a 54-yarder for your first miss all year is
right. But it sounds like the other part of it is you're a student of your game, and I think that probably goes from soccer as well. But like where it's like you're looking at, and whether it's somebody like Henry who was who's here and take pieces of advice from him, the other kickers in our league, but then obviously the next level, and guys like Brandon Aubrey or Justin Tucker, guys that have been in the NFL, been stars in the NFL, at their craft, and you take everything from that. So you're continually being a student of the game that you now play, in the last few years.
So growing up, we only played soccer in our household, and so one of the coaching points that I take everywhere and anything I do is you got to be a sponge. And I know it's a common phrase or common saying, but you have to be a sponge in anything you do, and especially coming into a new team. I had to be a sponge, and I have to just absorb how they do things compared to how my other team did it. And so being a sponge, and I would go and watch kicking coaches in our area. We have guys like Nick Novak, and we have John Carney, who can be out there on a given day.
The long-time Saints kicker. Yeah, right. Carney, right?
Yeah, we say
okay. Well, he played for the Saints,
Chargers more, but those are two guys that are big legends in the game, and they play for my favorite team. So I'm only a 45-minute drive away, and they post a lot of their stuff on social media. But being able to go and watch pros, and I've worked with Nick Novak once, and just being able to be a sponge and see how all these professionals work in a sport that they've played their whole life. Mm-hmm. But if it came to soccer, I played that my whole life. So it's if someone with, like, when I coach these kids, I always try to tell them just be a sponge and absorb all the information, because eventually one day down the line you're going to be like, oh crap, like Coach Brent told me that, or I saw that with Coach John or Coach Nick or whatever. And so just being able to absorb all the information you can get.
Speaking of soccer, we're getting up close to an hour mark here, so we've been going pretty well, which I love. World Cup just ended. Spain wins the World Cup. How much were you watching, and what did you think of the World Cup?
I thought it was really good. It's cool to see teams that everyone was like, oh, they're gonna blow you out, they're gonna blow them out. So just to see smaller countries, I think the only team that didn't get scored on was Cape Verde.
Yeah,
and that goalkeeper is now getting signed with Inter Miami,
mm-hmm.
and he's an older guy, and And I don't think people understand the magnitude of this World Cup. Everyone knows Messi and Ronaldo, but there's players on other countries that
Mbappe, et cetera, et cetera.
Mbappe's not retiring, but
but I mean, but I'm saying like the big names of the game of soccer worldwide.
Yeah, but the names that are retiring after this tournament, and obviously I've played it my whole life and just watching it, but just seeing the guys that this is their last World Cup, and they had a picture on Instagram of the 10 players that are retiring after this World Cup. And it's like, man, I remember watching those guys when they played their first couple games.
Yep.
And it's like, it makes me feel old, but then it's like, it's still cool to see. It was cool to see all these people playing and all these teams playing. And there wasn't really one game I don't remember that was like a huge blowout.
Right.
And every team kind of competed. I mean, you had Argentina having to come back from being down.
Yeah, in multiple games
with a red card in one game to win 2-1, and it was just cool to see the soccer. And I mean I've been around MLS a whole lot, so I watched MLS
with the Galaxy, of course. Yeah.
But it's just nice to watch actual, like it was like on the day of the World Cup, we had a team barbecue, and I was like torn. I was like, I want to go, but then I want to watch the World Cup final. And so I was like, I felt bad. I was like, dang, it's a barbecue. And then they were all in the pool. But I was like,
I'm watching the soccer.
I got to watch the World Cup. I was like front row at the casino, like in that little chair. Like I didn't even want to go to the bathroom because there was people waiting for you. As soon as you got up, they were like trying to steal the seat. So I'm over here ordering food from the little thing. I'm over here bribing the guy next to me. Hey, you can use my charger if you save my seat. Like I'll give you some of my fries. Like it's just, but it was definitely, it was cool to see because it's something. I mean, like I had kids that I coached that were able to go to games. And
the fact of being in the U.S. for the first time in 32 years,
and it was cool. And I don't think they really understood. Like I was talking to the dads, and one of the kids I coach, I coached with his dad, Cash. He was all excited, and Lucas they were at the game, and I'm like, dude, like they're gonna look back in like 10, 15 years and be like, dude, I was at that game.
Right.
And,
right.
I mean, I'm 37. I've never been to a World Cup game.
Right. What do we real quick, what do you think about the U.S. performance? The Belgium game, obviously notwithstanding, that was a little bit of a mess there with the goalie there on the third goal, getting out of position. But overall, seeing the U.S. make it to the knockout round for the first time since 2002, what do you think that performance can do to continue to jack up soccer in the United States? In terms of how they do,
it's definitely a touchy subject for soccer in the U.S. It's definitely it sounds bad to say, but it's. I mean, all the pros say it all the time. Is definitely a money game.
Of course, yeah. Well, I mean, that's. I think that's FIFA in general, but yes.
So it's hard to see. Like you have players that got cut before the World Cup that didn't come from a wealthy background, but they got cut. And I just think if we can get back into like being like other countries where like
your best 20, whatever, how many, I don't know how big the rosters are, but like your best 20 guys.
Yeah. But it's just, we're in a country where soccer isn't prevalent. It's not the main sport. If you look like
prevalent.
Prevalent.
No, you're right.
No,
it's an inside joke. Keep going.
I was like,
No, you're right. You got it right. Just keep going.
Tom's even laughing.
It's an inside joke. Keep going.
But it's just where you like England is football.
Yeah.
And all these countries where it's just that sport here in
like
US,
Brazil and Argentina, the South American countries especially.
So if we can get, we have to just get back to a point where it's about the game and not about making millions. And it sucks. Like I was listening to a commentator talk that played for the national team, and he was saying is like people aren't the World Cup is supposed to be about bringing the middle class and the lower everyone together to watch the game.
It's the world's game.
Yeah, and when you have tickets going for $1,000, you can't go, and then you have people taking out credit card loans just to go watch the game.
Yeah, it just turns it into something that it shouldn't be.
I definitely think the players this year were better. I just don't understand. I mean, some of the coaching decisions were. I personally I like Pulisic. I don't know if I would have started him.
Again, not really being a soccer guy. That Balogun.
Yeah.
I thought he was an excellent player.
Yeah, but I think
not really knowing the team that much.
Look how they played when Christian Pulisic was hurt the game before, and just how much they held possession and how much they broke down the other team's lines, and and when you bring back a player in that's been hurt, it's like now you got to try to rebuild that like camaraderie and that on the field gelling. And I don't know, I feel like everyone can armchair quarterback it, but
for lack of a better term, which type of football and soccer,
just because his name. And I think if the coach doesn't start him, I think oh my God, why isn't Christian Pulisic playing? But it's like the guy had a calf injury, and it's not like that's not. When you're playing soccer,
it's going to lead to an Achilles.
And then what ends up happening, he ends up getting hurt in that game. But it's, I don't know. I feel like if something's working, why change it? I think that if he would have started the lineup that started game 2, I think the result would have been a little different. And then Belgium didn't even play half their starters.
No, and they won 4-1 anyway.
Yeah.
But so we turned our show from Firebirds Weekly to the World Cup show. So this is good. We're diverse. We can do that.
Yeah.
But we're gonna let you go get some food and get out of here. Yeah. This has been Firebirds Weekly. My name is Adam Samrow. That's Chris Ipperly, and Brent Reis has been our guest tonight, and he's been amazing. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it, and and we'll see you on the 1st.
Yeah, let's go
and get it done.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see you guys later on. Bye for now.